Good evening, welcome back to Gooner Fanzine TV after Arsenal's disappointing 3-0 loss to Man City at the Emirates on Sunday. I'm here with Dan, the man who's raced from the press box, and Freddie Lundberg's post-match press conference. What was he like? What was he asked about the performance to start with?
Well, he obviously wasn't very pleased with the performance. He kept saying about, we got done on the transition, which is something that he's highlighted before. I think in the Norwich game, he said they've got to improve on that, and he said they have to learn from things Man City did. So he highlighted a few situations where Arsenal had Man City on the transition, and Man City would, say, for example, commit a foul. That was something that he pointed out, that Man City were doing a lot, committing a foul to slow the breakdown and stop an attack. And he said, we have to learn and we have to be more cynical like they are, because that's how you become a top team. That's how the top teams play. So he wasn't pleased, and understandable really, because it was very disappointing, wasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Was there any other questions about the performance?
Well, he's obviously asked about the defence, which is a key issue, and he says, it needs work. We've highlighted that, everyone knows that. But he thought the organisation was better. I'm not really sure it's something I agree with. I think good defending comes to organisation, and there just wasn't any today. Nobody was being proactive enough. And he wanted a bit more in the second half in terms of response, but he said, it's difficult when you're playing against a team as good as Man City are at keeping the ball and not letting you have it and not create anything. So disappointed, but the quality of Man City did shine through, obviously with a bit of help from Arsenal. Yeah,
absolutely. Just in terms of creative players, what was his take on Mesut Ozil?
Well, in terms of the performance, because there was two sides to the question. In terms of the performance and him being taken off, he said, I took him off because I wanted more energy. And he said, I'm the coach and I make the decisions. And he should be frustrated to come off. Obviously, we saw him kick his gloves, probably the best thing he did all day in terms of kicking anything. But yeah, Freddie made it clear, he's in charge and he'll make the decisions, which shows strong leadership to me, which is good. I think we've seen managers, Arsene Wenger and Emery, in situations where Ozil may be given to the player power in a way. So it's good to see Freddie kind of stand up to him. And then obviously he was asked about the... sorry, go on.
Yeah, I was just going to say, just in terms of Lundberg's sort of reaction to Ozil at the substitution that he made, was there steel in his answer, or was he just...
Yeah.
Was he slightly bristled? Was he slightly annoyed?
I think a little bit, yeah. He was very straight to the point, and there wasn't really much thought about it. He just went straight in and said it. It was like, he knew he was going to be asked about it, and he had a reason why. And he also kind of, in reverse, that praised Smith Rowe. He said he played well in Liège on Thursday night, which he did, I agree with, and he deserved a chance. And he worked hard when he came on, and you've got to give the young players opportunities. So yeah, in regards to Mesut, I think it was the correct decision. It's good to see a manager step up and make that call with him. Absolutely.
And just on the other point that we were going to touch on there, in a turbulent week for politics, certain Arsenal players have been tweeting about politics. Obviously, Hector Bellerin in the general election. Mesut Ozil tweeted something about Chinese politics and religion, really. Was he asked about that, Freddie?
Yeah, he was, and he basically said, it's not for me to comment, it's for the club to comment. I'm sure there'll be a statement in full if there hasn't been already. And he was also asked about, has he been spoken to about making political stances, obviously in the wake of the tweets this week from Mesut Ozil and Hector Bellerin. He said, it's not, obviously, it's important for people in high positions to speak out, but it's not really for me to do. And we've not had anything from the club in terms of that, but it's not something he feels that he should really get involved in. His job is, to manage Arsenal, and he'll do that to the best of his abilities. So
yeah, excellent. Okay, and just in terms of what other questions was he asked about the display today?
Well, he was asked about the fans. Obviously, a lot left early on. There was booing at half time, a little bit at the end, but he said, he was proud of the fans. Because I don't know if you guys heard it, but towards the end, whoever was left in the stadium rose to their feet and started chanting, which was a moment for me that was like, well, we're here to stay, and we're here regardless of what happens. And Freddie really praised the supporters for that, and said, it shows their appreciation of the effort, especially from the young players, those who came on. Bukayo Saka obviously played that position, Emil Smith Rowe, Joe Willock, and he was proud of the supporters and he praised them. So that was, a positive for him, and it was good to see from the supporters. So
absolutely. We were still in the stadium at the end, and it was quite a resounding sort of "We love you, Arsenal, we do," which was good to hear from the thousands of fans that were left in there. So that was a good point as well. Just in terms of Pep Guardiola, were you around for his press conference as well?
Yeah, he obviously came in first. There wasn't a lot of talk on Arsenal. There was a little bit on Mikel Arteta, and it was just, he basically said, doesn't want to talk about it now. It's not something he wants to speak about in that moment. I don't think he'd particularly stand in his way. I got that impression from what he said. In terms of, obviously there wasn't a lot said, but just in terms of his tone, it was almost like, if it has to happen, it happens. So But yeah, it wasn't really a lot else on Arsenal, a lot on his team, and a lot on Kevin De Bruyne, who was superb. I'm sure we'll come on to that when we talk about the match itself. But yeah, he was fantastic. So
absolutely, yeah. I mean, in the press conferences I've been with him with Guardiola, he's always a really fascinating character. Yeah. What was the main thing, the thrust of what he was talking about today? Then?
Well, the one thing he really said that caught, I think, everyone's attention was that he thought that that Man City played better against Manchester United last week. Obviously, when they lost 2-1, wasn't it? Yeah. So a real kind of assessment of just how bad Arsenal were today if he thought Man City were better in defeat last week.
Yeah, absolutely. Just on a slightly lighter note as well, the Paul Scholes, Freddie Lundberg Sartoria watch. Still got the jumper on, is he?
Still got the jumper on, yeah, of course.
Was he wearing a suit as well?
Yeah, over the top.
Excellent. So Paul Scholes will be happy with that, won't he?
Yes, he will be delighted with Paul Scholes. Freddie was obviously asked about his future as well, which I think was one of the most important points. And it was a real kind of dignified answer from him. He said, the club put their faith in me, and I'm honoured for that. And he's proud to be there, and I would like to see that. But he did say, I think a decision needs to be made sooner rather than later, regardless of what that is, whether that's me in charge or someone else. So, might we see movement soon? I don't know. Kind of maybe hinting that a little bit. I don't think Freddie will get the job now. I just don't. I think it's too much too soon for him. But he's been really dignified in the way he's gone about things over the past few weeks, and he's done himself and the club proud. Might not have been reflected in some of the on-the-pitch performances, but the way he's spoken and the way he's represented the club has been exemplary. So credit to him for that. Absolutely, completely agree with those comments there. Just in terms of future, then I know you touched on it there, but there was no talk of Ancelotti or Arteta or anyone. No specific names mentioned, but I think just kind of reading between the lines from what Freddie said, I think we will possibly see something happen in the near future. I think, as he does, it needs to happen now, or else things are really going to turn sour. Okay. So we'll wait and see what happens, but fair play to Freddie. Yeah, absolutely. And just one more question, just in terms of youngsters. I mean, you touched on Saka there as well. Was there a word for Martinelli? He started the first half really well. No, there wasn't, but Freddie always likes to praise the young players, and obviously Martinelli falls under that bracket. I completely agree with it. It's probably one of the very few bright spots today. So long may that continue from him, and he hopefully will keep improving. Absolutely. And obviously with the Europa League draw on Monday, no questions aimed to him about that. No. I think the focus kind of needs to be on the Premier League at this point. I think Freddie understands that. So yeah. Excellent. Thanks so much to Dan the Man for racing over from the press box and Freddie Lundberg's press conference after another disappointing home defeat of the Emirates for Arsenal. You've heard Dan say, what do you think about Freddie? Who do you think he should be manager long term? Who do you think should come in now? Ancelotti, Arteta, Allegri? There's a host of names. Brendan Rodgers, are they available? Do you want them? Let us know. Like, comment, share. Thanks to all our new subscribers as well for watching. We hope you like what we're putting out at the moment. Just come on the Arsenal, but on a really, really disappointing day. Cheers.